to know Jesus.
Alright, hey guys. I hope you can see the board. No, it might be a little hard to see. Basically, I'm going to talk about, in theory, what kind of people you will be fighting and who you're going to have to defend against, you know. First, I have a couple different scenarios. You've probably heard of them. I have left the zombie apocalypse out because it's mostly baloney, okay? But it's related to all these in preparation. First, we have the police state. What happens when you have a police state? Well, it's like martial law. The president declares martial law due to some impending doom, and it's a police state because police are everywhere and constantly policing everything you do. Alright? Which, depending on some of you, you will just obey, and some others will revolt. Probably like me, I might be half and half. I don't really want to fight police, okay? But in the case that they turn into something like Nazis, where they are really killing everyone, I would probably pull out my gun and start shooting at them. In the police state, you probably will not be fighting civilians. You will probably only be fighting police. And they, you know, whatever kind of police they are the people that are trying to bring the laws down on you, right? And these are inhumane laws, of course. You wouldn't fight against humane laws. If they were, you know, if they were good laws, you wouldn't have any need to fight against them, you know. But if they were unreasonable, you know, you can't eat this certain amount of food, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know, just every little thing, that is a police state, alright? You'll probably be only fighting the police in a police state scenario, martial law, okay? Next, we have without rule of law, WROL, if you don't know what that is. And this is basically a world where everybody has gone crazy. It's totally chaotic. There's just no order anymore. There's going to be people looting, you know, stealing. There's going to be people killing each other over food, resources, all of this kind of stuff, right? My brother told me about him buying, he was buying silver and gold a few months ago. And I tried to explain to him what you would want in a scenario such as WROL or any scenario like that. And I told him that if you had gold in one of these scenarios, it would do you no good. Alright? Do you no good at all. And I'll tell you why. I know some others out there have covered this, and I applaud them for it. Why it would do you no good is when you have people literally killing each other over a 2-month-old hamburger in a McDonald's parking lot. It suddenly puts this all into perspective, okay? If there's nobody working, if there's nobody making food, in the urban areas, it is going to be a disaster, alright? There's no food. If you've ever seen a supermarket when there is like an impending disaster, such as snowstorms, you know, people will buy up all the food on the shelves within hours. There will be nothing left. Just like that. There's not even a whole lot of people in the town, but they buy it all up, just like that. That's what would happen. But imagine a scale 10 times worse than some snowstorm coming along, okay? There's nothing going to be left in these urban areas, right? There's no food going to be left. There's nothing. So, who are you going to be fighting in the WROL scenario? You are probably going to be defending yourself against thieves. Defending yourself against people that are so desperate they are willing to kill you for the food that you have, or the water that you have, or anything like that that will keep them alive, okay? You haven't seen a person that is so desperate for food and water that they are willing to kill you. You probably haven't seen that, but someday you might. Also, there might be some semi-police state where you have police trying to keep order, but they do a miserable job at it, but they still will be attacking you because you're just one of the people on the street, alright? You may have to defend yourself against these military police type people, right? That might be the case in some areas, you know. The next thing is you're going to have to just defend yourself against almost everyone, I would say, except the people that you know. You can't trust anyone. They will probably do anything they can to get the food that you have, if you have food and water, stuff like that. That's a pretty ugly scenario. Shit hits the fan is a little bit different from those. It's like if you have, you know, everything go to shit just like that. You if you've ever watched Red Dawn, it's kind of like that. Just everything goes to mess. You know, some country comes in and starts attacking. It's a war, you know, and you're kind of caught in the middle of it, but you're not fighting for either side. You're just trying to get out. That's what that's kind of like. You won't necessarily have to be defending yourself against anyone individually. You just need to protect yourself, really. You need to keep yourself safe and your family. And it's related to the others, but again, it's slightly different. Slightly different. And then we have natural or man-made disaster. Alright? This is like Katrina. Everybody knows what happened with Katrina. Alright? Katrina was just a big mess. You have a hurricane come through and a bunch of people are stuck because they can't get out. All the highways, every road out of Louisiana is blocked, alright? They're all blocked. They're just jammed with traffic because everybody's trying to get out. So there's people that are going to be left behind. They're going to be trapped in their homes. And in this case, if you are trapped behind, you are left behind, which if you're smart enough, you shouldn't be living in a flood area, but this is just an example. If you're the one that gets left behind, you're going to have to defend yourself against thieves, people that are wanting to take in the food and the water that you have, stuff like that, much like WROL, and it's very similar, but this is more of a reality-based scenario, which has already happened often in the last several years, and will probably still happen. In fact, might be happening right now. And not such a disastrous scale, but a semi-disastrous scale, you know. So this is probably what you'll most likely see in the near future. And of course, it won't be all over the world. It'll just be in the area, you know, whoever lives in. And you might live in one of those areas, you know. You'll just have to defend yourself and protect yourself, really, against just thieves, you know. In Louisiana, when Katrina hit, they actually sent the military in, which is actually illegal. I know some of you people are saying, well, they need to keep order. No, it's actually illegal and they shouldn't have been there. But the military comes in and they just start confiscating people's weapons. Now, this is where the police state and the natural disaster mix together to create a very dangerous scenario, alright? They're going to take your gun because they think you're looting, alright? They're going to take your guns, they're going to take your weapons, and then they're going to give you they're going to get you on a bus and drive you over to the Superdome or the safe house, whatever kind of place it is, and they're going to leave you there to die because that's what they did in Katrina. Alright? You don't want that. You want to get out of there. Keep your guns. That is your Second Amendment right. They cannot take those from you unless you have killed somebody or they have proof of it, alright? Actually, you can kill somebody, and if they don't have proof of it, you can keep your gun, but that's another story. Don't let them take your guns. That's your last hope. Don't ever let them take your guns, alright? That's what they did in Louisiana, and that's most likely what they'll do again in these disaster areas. So that's probably the scenario that you may face in the near future, if you live in one of those areas, of course. This is the closest to home it gets. It's already happened, right? These other scenarios like police state and stuff, those happen, once in a century. They don't happen often, alright? But that's just kind of the people you're probably going to be defending yourself against. I know it's kind of a controversial thing to say, well, my brother is in the police, in the armed forces, in the military, any one of those things. Say, yeah, I know there's good people. I know there's lots of good people in these in the police, in the in the police department, in the armory, in the military. All of these, I know there's good people in there. There's a lot of good people. But what I'm trying to tell you is that not necessarily the police that you know right now will be policing you, alright? It's not probably going to be the same people. It could be some random group like Blackwater, which is actually a private organization that police, right? Blackwater, if you don't know who Blackwater is, just look them up, you'll find out. Blackwater is a private organization, similar to the federal police. Alright? The thing is it probably won't be your local police department that is cracking down on you in some sort of police state scenario. It's probably going to be like a military police that is brought in, like the UN, something like that. And a lot of people say, if you see a UN soldier in the U.S., it's pretty shitty. You need to get out of there. So that's probably who's going to come in. Somebody like a UN, military police. That kind of, it's not going to be like your local police department necessarily, though it may be. So if you have somebody, a family member that's in the police force, it's not like you should isolate yourself from them, It's not like they're going to come and kill you. Your family, right? So that I'm not trying to poke at the local police departments and stuff like that. I'm just saying that they might be, they might not be in that scenario, right? So please, leave your comments. Tell me what you think. I wanna, get together on this. I want people to tell me what you think. What kind of people you'll be fighting. What do you need for these different scenarios? What you should have for any scenario. All of this stuff. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think. Post videos. I love to talk. Tell me what you think you'll need to fight, who you'll need to fight, who you need to defend yourself against in each of these scenarios, and even more scenarios. And of course, in the zombie apocalypse, you'll only be fighting zombies. Don't forget that. Peace, people.